This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Donald Trump is at it again, lying to the American people and those that attend his Mar-a-Lago, whatever they are, press conferences. This time about all great lawyers only want to work for Donald Trump. He's had to turn them down, that he's lousy with great lawyers. He's got so many great lawyers, so many great law firms, the greatest law firms, that he's happy with his current team. Joe, I lost the E. Jean Carroll case, Tacopina. Susan, I lost the 17-count criminal conviction necklace. Jim, I'm out of here, trustee. Tim, I'm out of here, parlatore. John, I'm out of here, Rowley. Leaving only Todd Blanche and Chris Keiss, who were so beloved by their own law firms that were major law firms, that they quit those law firms in order to represent Donald Trump. I mean, I don't even know where to start, but that's probably a good place to start on my hot take. Let's start first with the clip of Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago bragging about all the lawyers that don't want to work for him, and then I'll give you the truth and the reality to follow. Let's go to the clip first.
And you know, I tell all these people, they all come in, they want to help, and biggest people, some of the biggest people, the biggest law firms, the biggest lawyers, I say, listen, I don't need any help. I don't want to.
Okay, everything he just said is a lie. We're just calling him out. This is like Mystery Theater 2000. I'm like those three little robots at the bottom. I'm just telling you the truth in real time as it happens, okay? Let's start with the beginning. I've been practicing for 32 years. I know all the major firms that practice in this area of white-collar defense that sit in Washington and in other places. They have names, they have rankings. They're ranked by organizations such as Chambers, which is a major organization out of London, an American Lawyer, which we call AmLaw. And there's firms that are considered AmLaw 10, top 10, AmLaw 20, top 20, or Chambers ranked in different tiers. None of the lawyers that are working for Donald Trump are anywhere near Chambers ranked or in AmLaw anything. So let's start with those that are. If you were a legitimate defendant that people wanted to represent and you had the problems that Donald Trump has, you would hire firms like, and you can write these down for future reference, Williams and Connolly in Washington, D.C., or Arnold and Porter, or Covington, or Wilmer Hale, or Crowell and Mooring, to name a few. You could throw Skadden Arps in there. These are major powerhouse firms that people in trouble go to on a regular basis when they've got the federal government as a prosecutor on the other side. Instead, let's go through the list of lawyers that Donald Trump has had and talk about the firms that they're with. So let's start with Rudy Giuliani. Had his own firm, Giuliani Bracewell. Nobody's ever heard of it. And Giuliani has lost his law license in at least 2 different states. Evan Corcoran, who's going to be the lead witness against Donald Trump, a lawyer. He works at a firm you've never heard of. It's a very tiny firm, a boutique firm. Tim Parlatore, the same. He also doesn't work for a firm you've ever heard of. Not a major firm, not a great firm. You've got Georgia Defense Counsel, also are basically solo practitioners. That's really what Donald Trump has. He has a series of solo practitioners, which is what it sounds like. They work for themselves, or maybe a group of 5 or 10 people, and that's about it. And then you've got Chris Keiss. Yes, he worked for a major firm, Foley and Lardner. I worked for that firm at one point in my career, but he quit that firm to go open a 2-man shop so he could represent one client, Donald Trump. Same with Todd Blanche, the lead criminal defense lawyer with Chris Keiss in the Mar-a-Lago case. He worked for a major firm that you've heard of, O'Melveny and Myers, but he quit O'Melveny and Myers in order to represent one client, and that client's name is Donald Trump. What about Alina Habba, you may be asking? I don't know why you'd ask that question, but you may be asking, what about Alina Habba? Alina Habba has a tiny firm the size of this room that I'm podcasting in Bedminster, New Jersey. You might be thinking, I know that. Now, where do I know Bedminster, New Jersey from? It literally is like 100 yards from the golf course or whatever at Bedminster, New Jersey that Trump owns. We've all heard the famous line, try it free for 30 days. Yeah, well, that's just enough time to try it and then completely forget about it. In fact, over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about. You could be wasting money and not even realizing it. Rocket Money helps you find those forgotten subscriptions so you can stop paying for the ones you don't use. Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions, but the actual total is closer to $200. If you don't know exactly how much you're spending every month, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about, and chances are you're one of them. Like that Stars app just to watch one show, or that free gaming trial you never actually use. Rocket Money will quickly and easily find your subscriptions for you, and for any you don't want to pay for anymore, just hit cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's that easy. Rocket Money also helps you manage all your finances in one place and automatically categorize your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/legalaf. That's rocketmoney.com/legalaf. That's where he met her. He met her at the golf course. Her office is in Bedminster. No major New Jersey lawyer's office is in Bedminster. Her other office in New York is in a WeWork type thing. It's in a Regency rental space. That's who he attracts. Joe Tacopina has a firm. I think it's got 4 people in it. He's one of those 4 people. And we've seen what he's done for Donald Trump so far. Nothing but losses for Alina Habba, nothing but losses for Susan Necheles representing him. And the ones that don't have losses are because they all escaped and got out of the case or representing him before it was too late. Rudy Giuliani stayed to the bitter end and lost his law license in two places. Sidney Powell almost got her law license yanked, except she lives in Texas, and Texas bar or the board of governors there got around her and protected her. But, that's another lawyer at a firm nobody's ever heard of. Cleta Mitchell, who used to be sort of a pro-MAGA election denier, a lawyer who worked also at Foley and Lardner where Chris Geist worked, she got fired from her firm. They kicked her out as soon as they figured out she was representing Trump and making all sorts of crazy phone calls to Georgia, to Brad Raffensperger to try to get him to, overturn the election and just, let's try to find another 11,579 votes so I can be the president or win Georgia. So she's out. So I don't really know. And you can write to me and you can comment on what you think he's talking about. I don't know what former President Trump is talking about when he says that all the major firms, all top lawyers want to work for him. None of them do. I've never heard of any of these lawyers except for Susan Necheles and Joe Tacopina and a little bit of Todd Blanche. And they either don't work at major firms or they quit their major firms or they got fired from their major firms. So I don't really understand where he's coming from other than he likes to brag about stuff that's not true in order to, create, he captures the news cycle for that moment. And that makes him feel better when he goes to bed at night with his little blankie and a bottle of milk. Because none of this works in a courtroom, because the lawyers he actually has in the courtroom, none of them are considered to be at the echelon of what Jack Smith and his group of 12 or more prosecutors, what their reputations are. None of them, not one. So that's where we are with the lawyer carousel, which we get dizzy and vertigo from in describing here on Legal AF and hot takes just like this one. And to summarize, if you're in trouble, if you ever get in as much trouble as Donald Trump, there are major firms that you can actually hire. They're well known. Go look in the Chambers Guide. Go look in the AmLaw 20, and you'll find all those major firms that do white-collar criminal defense. And you should hire them because if you have as much troubles as Donald Trump does, you shouldn't settle for less. But nobody wants to work for Donald Trump. We reported on Legal AF that when he was down in Miami, scrounging around looking for local counsel, he interviewed all the usual suspects. I practiced in Miami. I know a lot of those same people, and not one of them wanted to be his local counsel. I'm sure they demanded huge upfront retainers into the maybe approaching millions of dollars, and Donald Trump doesn't want to do that, and they don't want to be associated with him. You know, they fired the client before he became a client. So we're going to hold Donald Trump's feet to the fire. We're going to do it, and I'm going to do it in hot takes just like this one, about every day on the MeidasTouch Network, and only on the MeidasTouch Network. Because on Wednesdays and Saturdays, we pull together the best stories of the week. We curate them for you. We bring it to you in a podcast at the intersection of law and politics called Legal AF. You can catch it on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And then if you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up here. Helps the algorithm, helps bring this content to you every day and the quality of that content. Open a dialogue with me on comments, and you can follow me, Michael Popok, on all things social media at MS Popok. Michael Popok, Legal AF Reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.